Nobel Laureate Professor Muhammad Yunus is an institution, a man of constant innovative ideas and one of the most influential individuals in the world. Dr. Yunus is the father of both social business and microcredit, the founder of Grameen Bank and of more than 50 other companies in Bangladesh. For his constant innovation and enterprise, the Fortune magazine named Professor Yunus in March 2012 as one of the greatest entrepreneurs of our time.
How much money does it take to change the world? How much money does it take to make real and lasting progress against global poverty? Would $1 billion be enough? $100 billion? For one man, it took just $27. $27 and a simple but compelling idea. That man is Muhammad Yunus, and his idea started a global revolution that has brought hope, opportunity, and pride to some of the poorest people on earth. So, who is Muhammad Yunus, and what was his idea? To understand Muhammad Yunus, you need to know where he comes from: Bangladesh. Although Bangladesh is a beautiful country with a rich culture, it is one of the poorest and most densely populated nations in the world. Muhammad Yunus was born in Bangladesh in 1940, and he was affected by the dramatic conditions there. But unlike so many of his fellow Bangladeshis, Muhammad Yunus was not born into poverty, which gave him access to important opportunities. As a result, he was able to go to good schools, get a quality education, and even go to college. Eventually, he won a scholarship to study economics in the United States. While Muhammad lived in the United States, he witnessed something there that changed his life. He saw the historic struggles of the civil rights movement up close, and he was deeply affected. Muhammad was particularly inspired by the movement's powerful commitment to social justice, and it stayed with him. When Muhammad went back to Bangladesh, he continued to be profoundly concerned about issues of justice, especially poverty. And as an economist, he wondered why. Why was there so much deprivation in his country? Why were so many people living in so much misery? He quickly realized that unemployment was not the problem. In fact, most of the people living in poverty in Bangladesh were working. They worked full-time at back-breaking jobs. The real problem was wages. Muhammad Yunus came to a profound conclusion about poverty.
What creates poverty? What created this situation that human being has to be brought into this kind of situation where they have to beg for existence? Is this the fault of the person? Repeatedly I come to the same conclusion. There is nothing wrong with the people. Poverty is not created by the poor people. Poverty is created by the system that we have built, the concepts that we have created. That's what created poverty.
As Professor Yunus studied the problem, he began to focus more and more on the issue of credit and the ability to get loans. With wages so low in Bangladesh, he realized the poor could never save up enough money to change their lives. The only way to rise out of poverty was to get access to capital. With loans, the poor could move to better neighborhoods, go to better schools, pay for college, get better jobs, even start their own businesses. But in Bangladesh, as in most countries, the poor do not have access to the kinds of loans that can change their lives. According to conventional wisdom, they are simply too great a risk. They have low incomes, no collateral, no history of credit, and belong to a group that is generally not regarded very highly. Fortunately, Professor Yunus was able to look beyond the attitudes of his time and challenge us to see the world's poorest people in a completely different light. And it all started with $27. In 1976, in the midst of a deep economic downturn, Professor Yunus left the comfort of the university where he taught and talked to poor villagers in the towns around his city. Although he didn't have much money, he realized it wouldn't take much money to completely transform people's lives. In an impulsive moment, Professor Yunus gave $27 from his own pocket. on trust, and the amazing thing about it is that it works. According to bank officials, 97% of the loans given out to the poor are paid back in full, a payback rate that has confounded the expectations of conventional bankers. Over the years, the bank has given out more than $13 billion in loans to over 8.4 million borrowers, helping to improve communities all across rural Bangladesh. And the system is clearly working. Since 1992, the poverty rate in Bangladesh has dropped from a staggering 56% to just 31% today. While the poverty rate is still high, it is moving in the right direction. The basic belief of Muhammad Yunus is simple. Poor people have enormous untapped potential. And by lending them money, we help them break the cycle of poverty, and we can empower them to become constructive and contributing members to society in a way that benefits the entire nation and perhaps the world. The poor don't have to be a burden. In fact, they can be an incredible resource. It is a powerful idea and one that has proved to be extremely successful. Muhammad Yunus created a worldwide movement. There are now numerous banks that specialize in microloans, and there are microcredit programs in nearly 100 countries all across the world. As of the recording of this video in 2014, Muhammad Yunus is now 72 years old, and he continues to work with the poor and develop new ideas to help them succeed. He is a revolutionary thinker and a role model for our time.
In 2006, Professor Yunus and Grameen Bank were jointly awarded Nobel Peace Prize.
The Norwegian Nobel Committee has decided to award the Nobel Peace Prize for 2006, divided into two equal parts, to Muhammad Yunus and Grameen Bank for their efforts to create economic and social development from below. Lasting peace cannot be achieved unless large population groups find ways in which to break out of poverty. Microcredit is one such means. Development from below also serves to advance democracy and human rights. Muhammad Yunus has shown himself to be a leader who has managed to translate visions into practical action for the benefit of millions of people. I call upon the Nobel Peace Prize laureate for 2006, Muhammad Yunus, to come forward to receive the gold medal and the diploma.
Muhammad Yunus receiving his diploma and medal from the leader of the Nobel Committee, Ole Danvold Mjøs.
Professor Muhammad Yunus is the recipient of 55 honorary degrees from universities across 20 countries. He has received 112 awards from 26 countries, including state honors from 10 countries. He is one of the only 7 individuals in the world to have received the Nobel Peace Prize, the United States Presidential Medal of Freedom, and the United States Congress Gold Medal.
Thank you. Please be seated. There are many honors and privileges bestowed on the occupant of this House, but few mean as much to me as the chance to award America's highest civilian medal to the recipients that are here today. This is a chance for me and for the United States of America to say thank you to some of the finest citizens of this country and of all countries. The men and women we honor today have led very different lives and pursued very different careers. They're pioneers in science and medicine. They're gifted artists and indomitable athletes. They have made their mark in the courtroom, in the community, and in Congress. And what unites them is a belief that most, forgive me to those of you who are not Americans, but what we consider to be that most American of beliefs, that our lives are what we make of them, that no barriers of race, gender, or physical infirmity can restrain the human spirit, and that the truest test of a person's life is what we do for one another. The recipients of the Medal of Freedom did not set out to win this or any other award. They did not set out in pursuit of glory or fame or riches. Rather, they set out guided by passion, committed to hard work, aided by persistence, often with few advantages but the gifts, grace, and good name God gave them. So let them stand as an example here in the United States and around the world of what we can achieve in our own lives. Let them stand as an example of the difference we can make in the lives of others. Let each of their stories stand as an example of a life well lived.
Muhammad Yunus. With his belief in the self-reliance of all people, Professor Muhammad Yunus has altered the face of finance and entrepreneurship. As an academic, he struggled with pervading economic theories and their effects on the people of his native Bangladesh. Yearning for a new way of lifting people out of poverty, he revolutionized banking to allow low-income borrowers access to credit. In the process, he has enabled citizens of the world's poorest countries to create profitable businesses, support their families, and help build sustainable communities. In doing so, Muhammad Yunus has unleashed new avenues of creativity and inspired millions worldwide to imagine their own potential.
Which was enacted on October 5th, 2010, we will present a gold medal to Professor Muhammad Yunus in recognition of his contributions to the fight against global poverty. We're pleased to have with us enough leaders and luminaries from around the world, and of course, we're honored today to be joined by Professor Yunus.
Mr. Speaker, Madam Leader, Mr. Minority Leader, Mr. Majority Leader, distinguished Muhammad Yunus. We gather to honor Dr. Muhammad Yunus, who has a long career confounding expectations and conventional knowledge of bankers, business leaders, economists, and yes, public officials like us. We recognize a career in a man who have shown most of us to be wrong in important ways. Despite much attention and international honors that have come over recent decades to Professor Yunus, most of us still have trouble believing that his work and his ideas are right, or if they are right, that they have general applicability. So revolutionary is the work of this banker, economist, and visionary. Banker, revolutionary, visionary are not words that are commonly associated with each other. Yet millions of times, Dr. Yunus has demonstrated with facts, evidence, and accomplishment that grand social goals can be pursued one person at a time by using practices that are completely contrary to what businesses have practiced for ages. Contrary to the old saying that bankers loan money only to people who don't need it, only to people who demonstrate through collateral that they have money, Dr. Yunus has loaned millions to poor people who have not shown marketable skills.